Yeah.
Welcome back. It is episode 23 of Reflective Practice Radio.
Radio.
I am one of your hosts, Matthew Wright, and we also have here with me,
Claudio La Sala, the
welcome,
other guy.
welcome, the other guy. Welcome back,
Well,
man.
likewise, welcome back. How have you been?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Good, good. I've been like finding my footing again, going like through so many changes in life recently
Hmm.
and just adapting,
Yeah.
adjusting, doing what we do. It's a, life in constant motion and we make it work.
Yes.
Right?
Adapt. Track what
Yeah.
happened
Yeah.
and make some changes based on it.
Well, yeah, it's the, finding opportunity in adversity.
Yes.
That's like, okay, there's some adversity coming my way. What are the opportunities? Let's work with it.
Without
It's
getting
like,
into too much detail, I would like to pick at that a little bit. Opportunity in adversity. How do you do
mhm.
that?
Well, we were talking about actually last time we had our podcast was 2 weeks ago. We
That's right.
recorded here as an experience with live audience at Improving with other
Hmm.
improvers in the room. And we were talking about improv techniques,
Yes.
right? And the whole thing about, okay, you're presented with fingers. Well, take a step back. What else do you see? Well, we see a hand. Take another step. Oh, you don't see anything. Oh, it's the hand from the Adams family and whatever. It's like, right? You make stuff up based on looking at what else is there. So
Yes.
the whole thing about you ran into a wall, take a step back. And what else? Do you need to go through the wall? You can't if you don't have the tools. Can you go over the wall? Well, no, let's take another step. It's like, this wall will go on for, say, I don't know, 1,300 steps. Can I take those 1,300 steps and go around the wall? Yeah, I can
Hmm.
do that. So it's this, you see the adversity. That is it's the whole thing about, in stoicism, the obstacle becomes the way, right? It's an obstacle. It's not something that's going to prevent you from doing things. Can it become a way, whether you're going to go around it, over it, under it, through it, whatever? What else is there? So for me, like in practical terms, is okay, this is why I see the situation as an adversity. Let me take a step back and see. It's like, yeah, that one thing is unfortunate. Like, I wish that bump was not there.
Hmm.
What can I do about it? Right? So, like, what can it's the two things I've to ask myself. What can I do about it? What will I do about it? Because those are two different things, right?
That's
It's like,
right.
yeah, I can do that, but I'm not gonna do it. I don't
Hmm.
wanna. Like, no, this is what you can do about it. What are you gonna do about it? And yeah,
I like that. What can I do about it? And what am I gonna do?
yeah.
Like, do you have like more of a formalized process? Are you writing these things down? Like, here are all of my options, and then I break it down to what I can do versus what I will do about it.
Yeah, there is a one of our internal trainings here at Improving. There is a template. I think it's called a performance journal template or something like that. I have no idea where it came from, but it's a structured form of journaling where, say, you run into an adversity. Maybe it's like a meeting that didn't go the way you planned because
Hmm.
maybe things were said or, uh, things were done or whatever, and you're feeling like there's something wrong about it. That was
Yeah.
not good. Okay, you journal about it. So you be very direct, like write down what happened, not how you feel about it. Write down what happened. It could be something like, well, person, so and so said this, right? It's not like, oh, so and so hurt me. It's like, no, no, no. Write down what they said and then write down what you felt when they said that. And then write down what triggered it. Was it the words? Was it the body language? Was it the demeanor? Was it the situation? Was it the way that somebody else reacted? What triggered you? And oftentimes, and then we go through this because now you're seeing in front of us, right? It's like, okay, those were the words, those are the people involved, those were the moods and feelings as I perceive.
Yes.
That's what I perceive about me. Okay, can you, put the dots together? It's like, oh, it was not what they said or how they said it. It just activated something in my past that whenever I heard that, it triggered me. And from that point on, I don't listen anymore or I feel attacked because of a previous experience that had nothing to do with the person who said whatever.
Yes.
So this is a structure thing that depending on what I'm going through, then yeah, I sit down, I do some journaling, I go for a walk, I voice those things right into my recorder to say, okay, am I feeling that way because of words, because of whatever? What can I do about it? It's like, is there an opportunity here? Is there an opportunity here for me to go reach out to, say, so and so person and say, look, yesterday when we were in that meeting, when we were talking about this one thing, you mentioned this thing or you said this one thing. This is how I perceived it. Is that what you meant? Maybe that's the opportunity in the adversity. And then the person might go like, don't worry about it, man. I said that because, and then they say something like, oh, and I was feeling hurt since then or whatever. Like I've had a situation like that before. I don't remember exactly like the words or the circumstance, but I came back to somebody and when I asked them about this a statement made, they're like, man, that was like I totally butchered the way I expressed those words. And then we have a new conversation through a different perspective with
Yes.
time put between the starting thing and where we are now, and it changes the dynamics, the emotions and all that.
I really like that because there's something deliberate that happens. The event that initially happened, and we revisited it with this new perspective. And this is something that we chose to do. A lot of times, something bad will happen between two people, and it may just be a misunderstanding.
Mm-hmm.
Time will pass, and whatever resentment may be there will fester because they've never made the deliberate effort to have a follow-up meeting where we address it, where we clear the air, where we
Mm-hmm.
share how we felt and resolve
Yeah.
the issue.
Yeah. It's such an important thing. Like another question that I've learned to ask myself is asking, what else could it be?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So something happens to me, like somebody tells me something, and then I'm like, okay, I'm like attacked by those
Yeah.
words or whatever. It's like, what else could that be? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what else could that person be meaning with that? Or it's like, what else could it be? And more often than not, the what else is the right thing, not my initial impression of it. It's the other thing that if I didn't take the time to ask what else could it be, usually the first reaction is wrong
Yeah.
because it's emotional, right? It's not based on data, facts, analysis. It's based on, emotion, which
And it's
sometimes is a good thing, sometimes is a bad thing.
sometimes a good thing, sometimes a bad thing, but it's an easy thing to fall back to if you don't do
Yeah.
the effort of seeing what else could be there. It's easy to just fall back. How I feel must be what it is,
Yeah.
and that isn't always true, as we know.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. And so many times, I cannot tell you how many times you know, in the heat of the moment, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't like allow myself to ask myself what else could it be, and I reacted to that first impression, and then later in my journals I go like, yeah, you forgot to ask that question, right? You were wrong, your assumptions were wrong, you made
Yep.
decisions based on the wrong assumption. That's what happens when you don't create that buffer,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah.
So during your during your journaling process, like when this realization appears, um, you write it down, of course, but do you then follow up with that person? Do you say, you know what, I was wrong here?
I'm not gonna say 100% of the time because
Yeah.
sometimes there's like more stuff involved that you
Understood.
have to
Yeah.
work
I don't
through.
want to oversimplify it, but yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right, but yes, if I do look for that opportunity,
Mm,
like it, and then like all the questions that keep coming to mind, like, is this something that has to be said by me
mhm.
now?
Yes.
Right? So it may be like, yeah, I'm gonna be talking to that person later next week. Or it's like, yeah, no, that's not soon enough. I should call them right now
Yeah.
because, right, it's like, yeah, if I don't tell them, yeah. There is it's in one of the books by Derek Sivers. I think it's only Useful Not True, if I
Hmm.
remember correctly, that he talks about when he was maybe a teenager, maybe he had like he was like 19, 20 years old or something like that. He got involved into a car crash, right? And the driver in the other car, this lady, went to the hospital and he believed that she had like broken a spine or something like that, and she would not be able to walk through the rest of her life. And then for
Hmm.
like, I don't know, 20 or 30 years, he had that in his mind. It's like, I have caused that to that person. Now she cannot walk anymore. It's all my fault.
Yeah.
And then 20 or 30 years later, he creates the courage to go find that woman, to go apologize to her. He goes there, knocks at the door. She opens the door. He says, "Oh, I'm the teenager who crashed into your car, da da da, and this and that and the other." And then she said, "Oh," he said, yeah, she said, "Oh, sweetie, don't worry about it. Come with me, come with me." And then walked to the living room. Walked, he
Yeah.
says, right? And then he explained it to her that for the longest time, he thought that first, he caused her accident. Second, that she couldn't walk through the rest of her life. Well, she says that no, it was my fault. I was eating and driving at the same time. I was not paying attention to the road. I caused the accident. So imagine that the two people involved,
Yeah.
they are two thinking that they are guilty of something. And it's like, what exactly happened? Like, because he said, well, I was not paying attention. She said, I was not paying attention.
And they were only able to reach that resolution once they were able to compare notes,
Yeah,
which is a good thing. But in this instance, like years and years and years of guilt, living with
imagine
that kind
that.
of guilt.
Yeah, yeah, it's oh yeah, it hurts, it's painful.
Yeah. So I guess the lesson there is better sooner than later.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Better sooner than later. I remember man, I think I still lived in Brazil. So that was 25 years ago or so. I remember the situation where there were two people that I knew something about a situation that the two were involved,
Hmm.
but they didn't have both perspectives, right? But I had. And I
Yeah.
remember being with them individually and how they were speaking of the other. And I'm just like listening, clearly seeing how one person is like, yeah, that person is such a bad person because of
Hmm.
this and that, and she did this and she did that to me, and da 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 da. And the other person saying similar things, but different things. And I'm
Yeah.
like, being one that knew both sides and what really happened, I'm like, wow. And it was just tough because of the situation. It was tough to have the conversation to say, okay, it's not exactly the way you're painting it,
Yeah.
but they were both in a state that's like, "Mm, it's better if I don't say anything." It's the whole thing like, should this be said? Yes, by me, maybe.
Maybe.
Now, not now. It's like, not now, not the time right now.
So, I mean, I guess that begs another question because you are in this situation uniquely positioned to be a mediator. because you have both perspectives and you're the man in the middle. And sure, maybe then was not the best time, but how do you evaluate when is the best time?
It's tough, man.
It is because
Yeah.
I mean, let's say you are conflict avoidant. You don't want to create a situation where, hey, I am, positioned where in such a way that I could help resolve this issue, but there is going to be pain in doing so because I'm going to have to put both of these people in the room and I'm going to have to force them to see things from each other's perspective. So it's like, is this what I want to be dealing with? And is this the right time? And your personal feelings as the man in the middle may inform whether or not this is the best time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
your conclusion may only delay this process if your conclusion is, nope, not the right time. I got other things I would rather be concerned with. So if I'm around them, I'm going to shut up. And if I'm around the other one, I'm going to shut up. And hopefully, enough time passes where things soften and we have to be together and maybe we can resolve it in a more amicable way or whatever. But
Yeah.
it's a tough situation to be in, being that person
It
in the
is.
middle. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. Because of the ripples as
Yeah.
well, right? It's, yeah, you can never know. Yeah, it's tough.
But ripples is an interesting choice of words because of the time component in ripples. Like the more
Yeah.
time, the distance of time that passes, like these ripples extend out even further. So it's like better sooner than later, even if it means ripping off the band-aid. Because the more time passes, like these ripples are gonna, expand out in ways that we cannot predict. And maybe
Yeah.
some things happen that just cannot be reversed over the course of time. So
Yeah.
it's tough though.
It
Very easier
is.
said than done when you say, better sooner than later. It's
Yeah.
easy to say that, but yeah, life is a little more complicated in practice.
It is. It is. Yeah, good stuff, man. This is fascinating. What else have you been reflecting on or
Um,
practicing?
well, it is summertime. My kid is out of school. She will be entering kindergarten in the fall. And it's just figuring out how to keep her occupied until school starts.
Mm,
And it
yes.
is not easy, man. Um,
Mm,
We do have her in gymnastics, but that's from like 1 o'clock to about 4:15. But
okay.
we still have all of the morning, and we only have one vehicle, and I still have to show up to work in person on some days. So I have to be really
Mm,
tricky about how I, manage my schedule. And I
yeah.
mean, it's fun. Learning to be a father. I'm a father of a 5-year-old. She's a kid,
Right.
and she is growing her library of words, and she has a lot of whys. And what is that? And where are we going? And how long is it going to take until we get there? And I have to be prepared with answers. And if I don't have the answer, I have to convince her that I'm going to follow up after I do some research to get the answer because I do want to build trust with her. So I don't just want to tell her
Yeah.
anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because maybe that is tempting for some people where it's like, okay, I can tell them something, and they'll figure out the real thing later. But it's like, I want to, put her on good footing and, of course, establish that trust by
Yeah.
sharing whatever I share with her, it being the accurate thing. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
man, just pondering on all of those things. Like, how do you raise a kid? Like, people always say there's no manual for how to raise a kid, and I think this is very true. I mean, I'm sure you can get on Amazon and find lots of books about how to raise a kid, but every
Yep.
kid is unique, and the parents are unique, and the two parents operating together, and their, opposing beliefs or shared beliefs, and how that all works together in the production of a
Yeah.
kid. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot, man. It's a lot of moving parts, but it's an interesting
Mm-hmm.
process that I do appreciate.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm glad that you do appreciate because it is unique. It goes by fast. Next thing you know, you're looking back thinking, "Oh man, I could have enjoyed that even more."
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, the time that you spend with the kid, be there, be present, do as much of it as you can because it
hmm
goes by fast.
That's one thing that I hear all the time. And we got smartphones now. So it's a little bit different from when we were growing up. Like, some parents
Mhm.
had cameras, Polaroids or whatever, maybe even like SLRs. But now everybody has a camera and every moment is captured. And generally,
Yes.
this is a good thing. And I was looking through my photo album, like on the background of my phone, it just rotates through all of the pictures of my kid that I've taken over the years. So it's like at any given time, I'm going to pick up my phone and see a picture of her from 3 years ago, which is like forever ago at this point. So like to the idea of, it passing by so fast, even though it's only been 5 years total, man, seeing some of those pictures from like when she was 2, it's like, wow, that was ages ago, but it feels like it went by so fast. So I can only
Yeah.
imagine like, waking up one day and my kid is like, all right, first day of ninth grade. Like, what? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll see, like, give it like another, say, 10 years, 15 years, and then you look back at these photos of
Oof.
now. Oh, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Very nice. Very
Uh,
nice. I dig
but
it.
there, one of the practices that makes me feel like I'm positioned, to receive those pictures 10 years later better is the fact that I am journaling. So when I look at those pictures, and of course, it's digital cameras, so we have metadata, we got the dates, we got the place, the location, all that kind of stuff. I can look back to
Mm-hmm.
my journals to say, okay, what was going on during this period? What was going on in
Yeah.
June of 2026? Like, what was I thinking about? What was I experiencing? What was I working on? What was I talking about? And who was I talking to about it? And get
Yeah.
to really do the real time travel of repainting that picture, in a data driven way instead of, just harkening back based on my own memories of the past, which are not all that reliable when you compare it against data.
Mm,
Yeah.
true, true. That's great. Yeah, I'm glad that you were deep into the process of journaling. I wish I had good journals from my, say, teenage years,
Mm-hmm.
all of that. Because, like, yeah, I don't. I wish I had, you know, because there's so much that I know I would be able to enjoy and appreciate and better understand myself. That's the thing,
Yes.
you know. It's know thyself, right? Whoever said that, I forgot who
Mm-hmm.
was the philosopher who said it. Like, yeah, gotta know yourself, man. Everything gets a lot easier when we do know ourselves.
Yes. I mean, it makes decision making a lot better as well. Is this a
Mm,
decision I would make? Is this a
yeah,
decision I wouldn't make, and why? Like, there must be some guiding principles that would inform that answer. And
yeah,
knowing yourself allows us to have those principles.
yeah, yeah. I love it. Love it. Man, I have on the topic of practicing and reflecting on the practice, I've been experimenting more with AI music, or leveraging AI as a music partner.
Yes.
And I'm enjoying some of the results, the way I'm approaching it. Want to hear some of it?
I would like to hear some of it. And I think you've
Yeah,
been doing this for like about a month now, right?
maybe about a month. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's part the idea is I do not, like most people talking about music, like AI generated music. They are talking about like uh maybe labels or other professionals who make music, money
Mm-hmm.
out of music, and then they
Yeah.
create this fake artist with a fake, persona and the marketing material and all that. And then they create this very, to my ears, very generic music,
Yeah.
but it's commercial music. So they have like gazillions of listens on or streams on, the platforms and all. And like through some of the channels that I found, that I follow, like they play through some of that. It's like, yeah, it's not music that I would listen.
Yeah.
And because I know there is not a person right behind it making the music living their experiences. It's all AI generated. There's zero connection for me. Like
Yeah.
it does nothing for me. Because I think I've mentioned this before. There have been bands in the past that when I first like heard a song, I didn't even like listen to the song. I heard it in passing. It's like, nah, I don't think it's interesting. But then when I saw the band playing live, I'm like, ooh, that changes the experience.
Yes.
Now it's not just the music, there's a whole experience. I get that, right? And with a lot of AI generated music that's generated like that, there's no soul. There's no,
Yeah.
so it does not appeal to me. Now, the way I wanted to approach it for my musical uh, oriented things was from two perspectives. One is taking some of my music that I've written, that I've recorded, like playing all of the instruments, and I've like listened to those songs and thought, oh man, what would an orchestrated version of this song sound like? Like, well, I guess I will never know because I don't know how to write music sheet. I don't know how
Yeah.
to orchestrate a full orchestra. I don't have that kind of theory in me to be able to pull that off. Well, that's one of the use cases for me with AI where I say, hey, here's a song. It's one of my songs. Give me like a cinematic instrumental version of this with like heavy strings, an intense, vibe or whatever.
Mhm.
Let's see what comes out of it. And that like gives me goosebumps because I do have that direct connection. Like when I hear like those string quartets or whatever playing some of the licks that I wrote on the acoustic guitar sitting
Yeah.
back there because something sparked a feeling, an emotion, and I picked up my guitar and I came up with that little thing here. Now I'm hearing, I close my eyes and I'm hearing the full orchestra playing that. That gives me goosebumps
Yes.
because of that direct relationship with the content. So that's been interesting. Like I've been just throwing some of my music at it and then seeing what comes up and changing the prompt a little bit here, a little bit there to see what comes out. And then another thing that I've been doing that I'm like, oh, I'm digging that. I thought, let me pick one of these guitar pieces that I wrote sitting down in between Pomodoro sessions where I
Hmm.
pick up the guitar for 5 minutes, doodle a little bit, and then if there's something like, oh, I kind of like that, let me record it on my
There you
iPhone,
go. Yeah.
right? And then I said, okay, I went back to one of those that is about like a minute long. It's really a very simple thing that I did. I threw that at Suno, and I also had some lyrics that I wrote. And this is the fascinating thing. Are you familiar with this series on Netflix called From Scratch?
No.
So it's based on a book of the same name. It's a real story. This American lady traveled like looking for to find purpose in her life. She moved to Italy, got married there, and then it's about his her relationship with her husband, terminal disease, and how she found her purpose in life and all that. I watched that uh, 4 years ago, I think. There was one episode there that something happened there, and I don't want to give away spoilers in case people have not watched the thing. Um, but I watched that episode, and it made me the thing that have caused me to write music before, which is to like, okay, I'm feeling things. I need to pick up my guitar and start playing to see what comes through, right? I thought of doing that, but for whatever reason, I decided to go through my backlog of ideas that I still have in Evernote that I've been collecting for decades now. And then I find this one that's like acoustic idea. I click on it, and as it's playing, it's like, that is what I'm feeling. That
Yeah.
is exactly right now what I'm feeling. So instead of playing, I thought, let me write some words. And by the way, that excerpt I had recorded in 2019. So like 3 years later, I find it out of nowhere and I have words for it. And then I write words like what comes to mind, I'm writing. Said, okay, I'm gonna give that to Suno. That piece of music, crappy recording, and those lyrics. And I say, make it sound like a heavy metal, like ballad type, kind of like a gothic feeling to it, like intense. And I gave a reference to the kind of vocal delivery that I wanted. And then as it came back, dude, it gave me goosebumps, right? I know it's AI generated, but that is my melody. It's what I played on the guitar. Those are my lyrics. So it's like I'm hearing back. So it's the same kind of experience of going into a band setting and I
Mm-hmm.
show my bandmates, hey, this is something I wrote on the guitar. Singer, here are some lyrics. This is kind of what I'm thinking.
Yep.
Let's see what we can do with that. And then as it came back, I'm like, oh, and the way I'm using that is not just oh, I like how it did the guitars, I like how it did the drums, but I really like the vocal delivery and then how I'm using it to enhance myself as a singer, as a human is, can I sing like that? Because the way it did the articulation, like the going from chest voice to head voice and then
Mm,
back, I'm like, I don't know how to do those things yet. But
yes.
because I'm invested in it, I'm listening to it like spinning all the time. So it's like I'm hearing the nuances. Now I need to be able to reproduce that. So it's been a lot of fun because I've been like sitting down when I have, 15 minutes here and there, pick the acoustic guitar, just play a basic version of that
Yep.
and practice the singing. And it sucks for the most part. And then it keeps getting better. And then there's another part that sucks. And then it gets a little bit better here. Like, this kind of use for AI with music, I'm all in.
Yeah. That is fun. It is not just you putting in a prompt and saying, "Hey, make me a moody song. Make me a song with excitement, with strings and an orchestra." There's a context, and the source material is from you and melodies that you created, lyrics that you created. So it's a different experience, man.
Yeah.
I compare it a lot to you writing out a piece of music and giving it to something like a DAW, like a Fruity Loops or something like this, where you can input your melodies into some MIDI keyboard, and then you can say, all right, let's see what it sounds like with a guitar. Let's see what it sounds like with strings. And you're just swapping out
Mm-hmm.
instruments. Even though you didn't play it on that original instrument, you just gave it the melody. I don't see this as being all that different from that.
True. I agree.
And
I agree.
I mean, it's fun. What you describe is like I have my keyboard here, and I love like as I'm working, I'm usually listening to some other people's music and I'm playing along with it, but I always keep Logic Pro up. I have two laptops on my desk, and the laptop that's
Mm.
on the right is the fun laptop. So it
That's the
it
playground.
that's literally like what it is. So I keep Logic Pro up on that where I can have all of my
Mm.
tracks, and of course I have like because there are two laptops, I have to have a switcher with this mic, so I don't have to go and unplug everything. I just hit one button, and now I can easily record into that session or sing some
Nice.
melodies into that session while playing some of the notes here. And I
Mm.
mean, I talk about AI and I talk about how it's going to augment the work that we do. And I also talk about us being in offices. You have your guitar at the office. I think what
Mm-hmm.
we will see is more of that. People bringing instruments into the office, or people bringing knitting into the office, people doing things
Yeah.
that cannot be done with AI, like very human things, things that
Yeah.
make people interesting, things that are conversation starters, things that do not necessarily involve sitting in front of a screen to do.
Yeah. And I believe that is going to be essential for our sanity, right?
Yeah.
I think I've mentioned that before a few months ago as I got like a lot of like work done through agents that I would fire them up and then it's like okay by Wednesday I'm exhausted. I'm
Yeah.
mentally exhausted because I've been like planning what I'm going to be giving the agents and all and then the output is like it's a lot of stuff
That's right.
that my mind is not like ready to have that amount of output that I have to verify from the outside. Is this what I'm going to be presenting to the stakeholders? What is the story I'm going to be telling when I'm presenting this to the stakeholders? Like, yeah, I used to have like say two big rocks
Mm-hmm.
for the entire 2 week sprint, and the 2 weeks to prepare myself to think through all that. Well, now it's like by the third or fourth day into the sprint, I have double what we had before. And like, I'm overwhelmed. I don't even know where to start. So how do we pace ourselves to something that's going to be reasonable? And I think it's going to be this like spreading of like you do like a whole chunk of work,
Yeah.
and then you gotta relax your mind a little bit. You gotta stretch it, you know?
This has to be deliberate, and it has to be a part of the workplace culture.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what's going to happen is we're going to do a lot more work than we could do in the past, and a lot more time will be freed up consequently. And there's
Yeah.
going to be a very strong temptation to fit more work into the time that we freed up.
Mm-hmm.
We have got to resist that.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And I don't know what that looks like, from the perspective of the business itself. Because, at the individual contributor level, like, of course, you can feel, the exhaustion. You've been,
Mm-hmm.
delegating all this work, and you're also, tasked with reviewing it. Because ultimately, it doesn't matter who did it, Claude, ChatGPT, your name is attached to these pull requests, and
Mm-hmm.
you're on the hook for whatever that output is.
Yeah.
So even though we've created bunches and bunches of it, there's still the very human process of reviewing it. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm struggling to understand what we do with that, because we're only going to increase our output the way, like right now, you're stringing agents together. There was a point where you would be the man in the middle, if you will, that after
Right.
one process is fired and completed, you would then manually kick it off to the next process and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
Now you are creating a sort of workflow where this first process runs, completes, it is handed off to the next and handed off to the next, where you're increasingly stepping out of this orchestration. But you're still
Mm-hmm.
tasked with reviewing at the end everything that happened from point A to the ending.
Mm-hmm.
This means you're going to be able to do more of it, but you still have to review it at human speed.
Yeah.
So in normal days, maybe you had 5 things at the end of the week that you would have to review. And, you would be intimately involved because you would be manually, writing this code, for example, writing the tests, having time to sit with this and wrestle with the problem. Now it's like you've done a lot of the work up front, deciding what we're going to be working on. You've already dealt with how you're going to write the tests and the specific language that you would like to be used. Like all of this is like a solved problem. So instead of
Mm-hmm.
5 things at the end of the week, maybe it's 15, and it's still just you that has to review it. I wonder what this looks like.
Yes. Now, with that said, there is the aspect of like reviewing, but that is different. Like if you focus only on the software development part of it, on architecting solutions, architecting the software, coding, and then reviewing the code that got created, that's one part of the thing. But if you're also involved with like taking those features that have been implemented and then presenting that
Mm-hmm.
to the stakeholders, right? And now you have way more features to present it to the stakeholders. Like, are you even familiar with all of the different workflows that you would like just say click throughs? Like, oh yeah, to get to that, you have to click here, put in a sales or a purchase order, and then you have to do this one thing, and then you put a sales order, and then you ship the order, and then you generate invoice, and then blah, blah, blah. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff when you are at human speed
Yes.
showing the result of that work. That's where, like a few months ago, I caught myself thinking, how do we handle that exactly?
Have you arrived at an answer? Because I would like to hear it.
So I've been trying different things. I haven't like consolidated any of them, because what happens is like, okay, now we have way more
Yeah.
to demonstrate at Sprint Review, which is not a problem we used to have. That was not the bottleneck, right? Now we have way more. So like, okay, we show up at Sprint Review. What exactly do we like? How do we even articulate? Because this is what I've mentioned to people a few months ago. Is like I was hitting the second week of Sprint Review. I couldn't remember what I got done the previous sprint because there was a lot of stuff. It's like, oh, was that story or feature this sprint or the previous one? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was this sprint. It was last week, but I didn't sit with it. So I would forget that we had to even bring it up to the stakeholders at
Mm-hmm.
Sprint Review, right? So things I do, it's a mix of a whole bunch of stuff. One is the way I take note of the work that I'm doing, right? So as I say, if I load up an agent to start working on a story or features that are comprised of multiple stories, I log something real quick into Obsidian saying, I'm starting to work on this thing here. And then as like different things happen, I'll just drop some quick notes there. Because sometimes it's like, okay, I'm starting this. And then I think, okay, say 10 days from now, when I'm presenting this to the stakeholders, I got to remember the following thing. I need to set up, I need to make sure that I have a product in the database configured to the following category so that when I'm presenting, I have the story in my mind. Well, I'm not going to have the story in my mind, but I took notes.
Yes.
Right? So I keep doing that throughout the sprint. When sprint review comes around and I prompt my notes to say, okay, gather all of these things that I've pulled up, that I've noted. So this is one data source. It's what I took notes. The next day, when we show up to daily scrum, I say that out loud in our daily scrum. So it shows up in the transcript. So yesterday, I worked on this one feature here, and I noted that when we're demonstrating this to the stakeholders, we must remember to do the following thing. Okay, so I worked on the thing, I took a few notes. The next day, I voiced it, and then I may not see or hear about that until 7 days later,
Mm-hmm.
but that's captured somewhere. When comes the day before sprint review, I prompt all my notes and I say, I'm about to prepare for a sprint review. Bring everything up. All the things that we logged as a team, that's like, we have to ask the stakeholders about this. We need to make sure that we set up the environment with the following thing. We need to make sure that before presenting that part of the story, we have to present this other story. So I create a story arc and design the sprint review with the spots where we need to make sure that we stop and we ask the stakeholders for feedback.
Yes.
So with that in mind, when I'm preparing, there are things where I'm not during the demo clicking through things. I'm showing a screenshot. So as part of this narrative, there is a feature that looks like this, but it's not the most important part. We don't need to spend time on that. That's like table stake type of stuff,
Yes.
right? And then here, this is the important one. So it's like designing sprint review the same way we design a talk. Like, how do you get, because stakeholders, they are on their own lives, also living the life at full speed, focused on other things. It has been 2 weeks since they saw anything here. So my work is to like design the start of the sprint review to get them up to speed, which usually starts with previously, right?
Yes.
At our last sprint review, this is what we saw. They go like, oh yeah, I remember. Great. And then you continue the narrative to get them up to speed to say, oh, this is where we are focusing on today. So by the time we hit the things that we want to click through and say, well, okay, there's this situation, this is how it's surfaced in the UI. We click here, this is how the UI communicates with the person and da da da. That has been part of it. And the other thing I blogged about, which is this agent I created that I can give it a story or stories. It finds the end-to-end tests associated with that story. It runs the tests, it takes screenshots from the screens.
Yep.
It creates a documentation about the feature using the stakeholders language. So it talks about the problem that you're trying to solve. It shows the screenshots and it finds information from the user stories in the acceptance criteria, right? And that's a way so that later I can go, it's like, have we worked on that feature? I look it up, it's like, oh yeah, what does it even look like? Oh, that's what it looks like. All
Nice.
things I'm experimenting with. Like,
Yeah. I mean,
it's still experimentation right now.
and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think it's quite the opposite. It is a good thing. We're in a state where a lot is in flux. Like we don't have many established patterns. Like for example, we do know that we should be recording our meetings. We do know that we should be processing the transcript and extracting insights and doing something meaningful with that. But it's like all of these other things. Like how do we prepare for a sprint demo when the work that we completed was weeks ago and we've done tons of other things since, and we're only, demoing this slice of it? How do I reorient myself leading up to this meeting? And it's like, you're experimenting with the planning and being able to harken back to all the things that you discussed and the way that you've cataloged everything. So when it is time to demo, like you've gotten the spirit of the feature and you can display it in such a way where it's like easily communicable to the person receiving it. But we don't have tons of, well-established practices. So we do have to be in a state of play at this point in time. So that's where I am as well.
Good.
Experimenting,
Any
trying.
specific, is there any like experiments that seems promising to you that you're like, yeah, I need to tap a little bit more into that one?
That's a good question. Did mention one that is very similar to a practice that I do, which is following meetings. I have a workflow that is set up, and it will watch the video, if you will, because it's spinning up some headless Chrome browser where it can jump to points in the video based on the transcript, which is time stamped. So I can say, at this point in time, Matthew was saying this, so we should grab a screenshot of what was on the screen as he's saying that. And I use that as points of reference. And that has been really good for me. Following our BIP meeting, I do the same thing to like recap. So that is one thing that has been very solid for me. Having my apps journal for themselves. So I have my own journal from my perspective, but as it's working through these tasks, it has a project level journal of, hey, as I was working through this, I encountered that. So when it encounters like issues that it had to resolve or ways of updating existing skills, it captures that in the journal. And I'll have to show this to you. Like I'm going to have to figure out a better way of managing it. And it's just time stamped and a title and the body of the text that describe, the journal entry. And that's what it is. And it's one huge markdown document. It's getting unwieldy at this point because it's been going for weeks. But so I do want to figure out something better than that. But those are some of the strategies that I've been employing.
Very nice. Very nice. I like it. Yeah, I like it. I have been considering something where, like, for the most part, for several months now, for me, processing transcripts is always after the fact, right? Once everything is done, the meeting is done, I hit the thing to say, okay, now you transcribe, give me the transcript. But there are times when I would like to have an active transcription or something that's like at every minute it consolidates things and I could like talk back to an agent and say, the thing we just talked about XYZ, cut me some stories out of that, or create a visualization of that for me, like using Mermaid or something like that. That is something that's been at the back of my mind. I guess, like one of the tools that you wrote, I believe we should be able to do something like that, right? Or do you always do after
It doesn't have
The
to
thing is
be
done.
after the fact. As a matter of fact, like what you're saying right now is may not be like a one-to-one to this idea that I have in mind, but
Mm-hmm.
as you're in the meeting, maybe there are mermaid diagrams that are being shown on the board because while it's listening, it's also processing in real time. And as you're, sketching out these ideas.
Mm.
So for example, it could just be me and you in a meeting and we have these ideas. And instead of like us walking up to the whiteboard, because maybe you're in a meeting with a person that doesn't have that skill where they can, jump to the whiteboard and visualize what it is they're trying to express. So if they lack that skill,
Mm.
maybe this thing that is listening in real time is capturing this idea and
I
it's
like
able
that.
to, in real time draw it out. And you're like, oh yes, that's the thing. And
Ooh,
once it's on this like canvas, if you will, since it's up and interactable, now you can do stuff with it. You can, click around, move the nodes or whatever, because it's like a base template for you to, take to the next level. But
I
these are
love
things that
that.
we can these are things that we can do. Like these are things that we can do. So I don't have that kind of thing where we are
Mm.
capturing, the transcript in real time and then acting on it. So that's usually a post process for me. But we could do that.
I love
We have
it.
models that support that already. We're just
Yeah.
not leveraging them in that
So
way.
that
Yeah.
thanks for saying that because I've recently doing a lot of this where like I'm in a meeting, like a virtual meeting,
Hmm.
and there's something that I'm trying to describe. I'm trying to describe an image that I have in my head. I'm
Yep.
like, you know what? Hold on. Let me pick up my remarkable tablet, share my screen, and draw
Yes.
what's in my mind. But I would love, like in a team communication, if I have an agent that has access, say, to our code base, to our documentation, as we are having the conversation and the questions arise, I could say, yeah, look up models XYZ,
Hmm.
create a mermaid chart that display a sequence diagram of the thing, and then boom, oh man, that
During
is
the meeting.
during the meeting.
Yes.
That would be fantastic. It's like I don't need the transcription to be like word by word, as we
Right.
say, as
Hmm.
we, it's like, no, but like every minute or so, start like
Yes.
stacking up that
Hmm.
knowledge.
Like these little tiny batch processes. Like, all right, cool. That 10 minutes, cool. That. And
Yeah.
we could get even fancier. But yeah.
And this is next level. Oh man, I could use that like as of like right now.
Yes. Yes.
Because I've been essentially onboarding new team members.
Hmm.
So there's a lot like we're recording all of the meetings. At the end of the meetings, depending on what I was coaching them on,
Yep.
I would take the transcription, drop it in Notebook LM, create an infographic, and say, okay, here's a summary, a visual summary of what we just discussed that all belongs part of our collective knowledge. If that is all accessible and there's something listening, you say, pull up this thing, pull up that thing, it will just streamline and make that time together, that collaboration and conversation better.
Because you'd be able to do a thing that you can't today. Because right now, with the existing process, we record everything. There's a transcription, and all of this is happening in post after the original
Yeah.
meeting. But if in real time, as you're talking to this person who's being onboarded, you're explaining the concepts. There are diagrams that exist in the code base that you can't, necessarily surface, or if you can, like they're static and maybe not all that useful for the idea that you're trying to like get across. What if in
Mm-hmm.
real time these diagrams are showing up? Now the person who you're onboarding can see them and they can ask questions about them right away instead of having this artifact in post that they have to interact with and try to remember what was he
Yeah,
talking about. Or even if there's a video, you got to go back in time, but you cannot have a conversation with the video.
correct. Man.
So if we can attack that issue, the real time where it's like, okay, I have all these questions, but I want to ask the most meaningful. I want to make the most of the time that I have with the person who's onboarding me. And that requires me to
Yeah,
ask the right questions and being able to identify them because I have more data to work with. That's just going to streamline the process.
yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it.
Because one thing that we don't want to do, man, and I think we're going to increasingly see this problem where because we have the ability to create so much documentation, When we're onboarding people, we're like, hey, everything's here. And it's just a bunch of docs. And there are mermaid diagrams in there, maybe even videos. But it's like, how do I, as the singular human who can only, absorb this at human speed, how do I ingest all of this stuff? So we have to do better than just, giving them the access to the library of documentation or whatever, the resources. It's like, while that's great, it's definitely a step above where we were in the past in terms of the
Mm-hmm.
quality and how up to date that we keep these docs versus in the
Yeah.
past where they would be very stale and we would only know about them later down the line. Like we've largely solved that, but it's like now, how do we address the real time issues when we're onboarding people and they have questions and they don't know which questions to ask? And maybe me as the person who's onboarding that person need to know where their concerns lie and, parse all of that out sooner than the end of the meeting or after that.
Yeah. That speaks to something that I've been reflecting on. Um, this principle called the progressive disclosure that
Hmm.
has been around with in the context of skills in
Yes.
AI.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But that comes back from even, I actually put out a blog post about this a few days ago. It comes back from UX, where we
Hmm.
also apply progressive disclosure. You don't put everything on the user's face at once, right? You
Yeah, yeah.
let them progressively find out what they need. But a long time ago, I learned or picked up from somewhere this idea that I don't need to know everything. I need to know where I can find the things that I need when I need it.
Yes.
So having all of this like crazy library of information and knowledge somewhere, that's great.
Hmm.
How do we apply progressive disclosure to that? If we are
Yes.
onboarding a new team member, it's like, yeah, don't give them the entire stuff. Just go here, then you go here. When you go
Hmm.
here, it's going to open up a few more things,
Yes. That
right?
way you don't feel overwhelmed. All of the information is there. It may not be visible to you right up front, but when you
Yeah,
need it, it will be available.
yeah,
So it's like these are the challenges that we, need to be solving. Like it's easy to build out all these agents that can do a whole bunch of work, but again, we always have to center the human in this experience that is actually responsible for the work. And that means
hmm,
tailoring these experiences around them, like leveraging AI. If we're going to use it, to knock out work, fine. But let's also use it for the important things, like, helping this person become oriented with this project, helping them understand what it is we're doing here, having a means
yeah,
of being able to, talk to the code base, something better than, putting them in Cascade and having them ask questions there. Like we can do a lot better. And that's what we should be focused on.
agreed, agreed. Hmm, fascinating. Yeah, that's we've talked about it many episodes ago, this idea like how important it is to know now when is the time to go fast,
Hmm.
when is it the time to slow down? Like what do we see ahead of us as a sign to say, yeah, yeah, we're going pretty fast. It's time to start slowing down because we're gonna have a sharp right corner. If we're going at this speed, we're gonna crash. How do we see that? We are creating all of these features. We are creating all of these
Yes.
features. At what point do we say like, yeah, we should slow down?
And that is the real question. You said, when do we go fast versus when do we slow down? It's like we understand the question, the answer to the first question, like very readily. Like we know, okay, when do we go fast? Now, 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 now. That's why we have these tools. That's why we're adopting them so we can go faster. And that's generally the idea. And like, it's almost counterproductive or counterintuitive to even think about going slow in the context of having tools that go really fast or that allow us to. So, I think the answer to the second question, when do we slow down, is going to naturally come to people in uncomfortable ways. It's like, well, now's the time to slow down because I have to, because there's just so much happening here that I'm losing track and I'm not able to, maintain context of what it is I'm working on. I got three projects open and I'm polluting one with the other project's information because I'm swapping between the screens and, basically I'm the person hallucinating at this point, not the AI. It's like all of these different things. And once you do that enough, you realize, hey, I am moving beyond the speed limit.
Yeah. Yes. And think about it like as we talk about the human loop, right? So, and going back, I love going back to the racetrack situation because a racetrack, it's always like the same layout, it never
Hmm.
changes. So you go around the track and then you come in a little bit hot into turn one, and you're like, woohoo, that was kind of scary. Next time I know I need to slow down a little bit earlier
Yes.
to be better prepared to make the decision when do I have to steer, right? Well, think about in software development following Scrum. You have a sprint. It's always like the same track, if you will. So it used to be before AI, where in a 2 week sprint, the Thursday before the last day of the sprint, the way I had the team working was like, okay, we're going to be doing feature work all the way up to that Wednesday. On Thursday, the team's job is to come up with the best sprint review possible for the next day. So the team would bunch up and say, okay, these are all the stories. Let's prepare. Let's talk about the narrative. What are the samples that we want to give and da 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 da. All of that. Now with AI, it's like we have to slow down earlier. We cannot
Hmm.
be churning features until Wednesday at the end of the day because
Yeah.
comes Thursday is like we have a lot of stuff to be talking about and demonstrating. Where do we even start? Well, start slowing down earlier
Yes.
into the second sprint.
That makes sense because trying to do the same Thursday cutoff is basically slamming on brakes in this context.
Yeah, yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Different bottleneck, right? Now the
Yes.
bottleneck being like, yeah, how do we present all of this stuff? Maybe we should
Yes.
go into a Kanban style instead of, a Scrum cadence, where as soon as something is ready, put it out somehow. But then
Yeah.
at the same point, are the stakeholders ready to be receiving like piecemeal versions of the value being produced? It may be too scattered because they're busy doing their thing,
Hmm.
right?
But something there has to change because
Yeah.
given the volume of work that we're able to put out, if we, have the sprint demo, there's just so
Hmm.
much to show that it's like, how
Yeah.
do, there's so much that it is difficult. I mean, it's easy to miss the value. It is
Yeah.
easy to miss the value of all of this that's put out because you don't even have enough time to digest it. There's just so much here.
Yeah. Yeah. Because imagine like if you have like different features solving different problems in
Yeah.
different areas, it may take you half hour just to get everybody in the same mindset for one of those areas.
Yeah.
And then once you get them there and you get some good feedback and they're still thinking about that, oh, now let's switch gears to this other thing. It's like, no, 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 wait. We're still thinking about this problem. This
That's
is a
right.
very serious problem that we're solving. Let's stay there. But
Well,
what
we
about
can't
the
because
other
we only have
one?
an hour. we we've only scheduled an hour for this meeting. And that's another thing. It's like you don't want to then turn the meeting into 2 hours because you start to bump against different challenges.
Yeah.
It's this is gonna be tough. And I don't know if the
Hmm.
answer is having a sprint demo every week, but maybe it is.
So another thing that I'm experimenting with is that agent that takes stories, epics, and creates graphic novel versions of
Mm-hmm.
that, like very short,
Yeah.
that takes somebody like 2 minutes to read like page one, what is the problem?
Mm-hmm.
Page two, what does it look like
Yes.
with that solution? Page three, a summary, the before and the after, and then sending that with the sprint review invite, the
Mm-hmm.
calendar invite, send those in ahead of time and say, hey, when you guys have 2 or 3 minutes,
Check this
go
out.
through these, check this
Yeah.
out, because that's what we're going to be discussing.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's like
maybe
the
like
tape.
priming their thoughts ahead of time.
It's like a teaser or a trailer
Hmm.
for a film that they're going to be watching soon. I like that idea.
Yeah.
I like that idea. I mean, but again, we have to try different things because, I mean, the old ways, they start to tear at the seams given the velocity that we're moving at.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so, yeah. I yeah, I'm not gonna even apologize. I will use that because folks here will use like football analogies and baseball analogies. I will use my
Hmm.
freaking racing analogies. I don't even care at this point anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh, but what comes to mind is like somebody who starts going to a track day,
yeah,
either
yeah,
like with their motorcycle or with their car. They end up going with their street vehicle, right? The same motorcycle, the same bike that you ride to work. You go to the track and you ride because you are not really going that fast,
hmm,
right? Period. Because if you do, you end up crashing because it's the thing that you use on the street, it's not tailored
that's
to
right.
go that fast at a racetrack. So you end up like the first time, I didn't do that, but a lot of newbies, that's what they do. They just ride their bike to the racetrack. They ride on the track all day and then they ride back home.
Hmm.
What happens so often is they get so excited with that experience, they go faster than they can handle or than what their machine can handle,
That's a big one.
right? Because their machine is like, oh yeah, the brake fluid that you have,
Hmm.
it's for the street. It's not for the heat that you generate at the track. So
Yeah,
they get brake fade, they crash, and then they have no way to ride back home because they rode their vehicle. Now they
yep,
cannot make their way back home. So the ways that we used to do our work, we cannot just like say show up with our laptop. It right there, like what is that preparation? How do we
damn.
separate the we are in full blast versus the slow down? We are not racing right now. We are at the paddock after a go fast session. We are
Hmm.
back at the paddock. What are we doing at the paddock? We are looking at the data, seeing how it went, thinking, is there anything we need to change
Hmm.
to do it better next time? Do we need to slow down next time?
Yes.
So think about sprint reviews like, oh yeah, we created all this stuff. That was pretty fast. It's a lot of stuff. Do we need to slow down next sprint? Or no, faster, faster, faster. Are you sure?
Faster, faster, faster is always the more attractive answer. But I think what it's going to take for a lot of people to arrive at a place where we're like having to operate from reality instead of, our desires of how fast we can go is something really bad happening. Awful experiences that, the crash is what's going to have to happen. And you're going to have to
Yeah,
walk back home and absorb the lessons of why, that big wing that was on his car. The reason he had that isn't because it looks cool. It's because of the downforce that it affords him. You didn't have that. So it's like all of these concerns, it's like, oh, now I can appreciate what I am seeing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, man, we gotta find all these mental models to see how do we adjust to it? How do we adapt to this, right?
Yeah. And I don't think we're like really being deliberate about asking those questions yet. And I think we should while we still haven't
Yeah,
crashed. Yeah.
that's right. Yep, I agree. Well, this being fun, man. We never know where we're going. I love this.
Yes. And I always look forward to it. I always look forward to it for that reason because
Yeah,
I think if it was planned out, if we had like this very detailed list, all right, moving on to topic number 3. That kind of thing. I mean, maybe it would be nice for people who like predictability and who would want to be able to skip to, 37 minutes into oh, that's a topic I want to hear about. I think that would be cool
right.
for those people. But I mean, for what I get out of this and being able to attempt to be nimble on my toes and
Yeah,
improv and, being able to move and be agile, I like
yeah.
this
And move
format.
at our natural speed,
That's right.
right? I like it. I like it because everything else is just go faster, go faster, go faster.
Yeah.
But
And
I
for
don't
what?
wanna. I wanna
Yeah.
slow down a little bit.
I mean, and even if you do want to go fast, I mean, for what? What do you gain from it? I mean, if the answer is fun, okay, cool. but I like moving at human speed.
Yeah.
If I want to go on the track, then I'll go to the track.
Yeah. That's it, man. And even those who go, if you're always going at, 100 miles an hour all the time,
Hmm.
if that's your constant speed all of the time, it will be boring. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's always 100, miles an hour or 150, 200, and it's going like, okay, I don't get it. It's just everything is just going fast. Like, no, you have to slow down and you have to speed up and then you have to go through some
Yeah.
turns,
And
that,
eventually you get used to that, and it's time for a new track.
right? You look for new challenges. Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting. Good stuff.
Reflective practice radio. Claudio, it was a pleasure as it is always, and I look forward to the next session.
Likewise. See you all next time. See you,
Until
Matthew.
next time. Later.
Bye.